Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody has had a great week and is looking forward to a good weekend. Welcome Kyber. Hi Rahul. Welcome members. This is a members chat class. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. And in this class, we are looking at questions and answers from our members. This is a class that I host once every 2 weeks where members have a chance to ask me questions about the IELTS exam or the English language or some other topics like immigration, learning abroad, and so forth. Again, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, please check us out there. And for the general IELTS, visit us at IELTShelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have lots and lots of tools and resources, and many of them for free to help students prepare for the IELTS exam and get answers to your questions. I'll show you what those websites look like while we wait for a few more members to join us. This is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join our premium package. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's well worth the small investment. And once you're here, you can go to your My Student account, and in your My Student account, you will find a few different places to get some help. We have a forum where you can find different topics that students are talking about. You can find blogs, which are some popular articles on different topics like writing task 2 questions, vocabulary, etc. And then you can click that big contact us button to get a hold of us. The same idea for general IELTS, but it's the green background, and you can click that big red button to join the premium package there. We are an official IELTS registration center with the British Council and certified British Council agents. Lots of members in the class now. Hi Rajveer, David, Sammy. Good to see all of you. Backroads, Firdavs, nice to see Abhishek in the class as well. All right. Okay, good to see everyone. So again, of course, we have apps that support our websites: Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. And if you have questions and you do not find them on the website, you can always send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. By the way, members, if I miss a question today and you feel it's really important and you don't find the answer on the blog or the forum on the website, then you can always send me an email as well. And we have an all chat class after this class where we will finish the task 2 writing that we started yesterday, and then we have more classes for you tomorrow also. All right, so let's get to some Q&A questions. Now, it's a first come, first serve, as many of our members know, so that I see in the chat. And of course, if they're related, I will try to make a connection among your questions. So go ahead, members, ask me your questions. I will, of course, do my best to give you a clear answer. And then we'll just go step by step, and hopefully that will shed further light on the English language, communication, the IELTS exam, so you can get those higher band scores. So let's take a look at your questions. And we have lots of members in the class, so you should have lots of questions. Okay. All right, Kyber is asking, sir, if I have days for my IELTS exam and I practice 5 to 6 hours every day leading up to the exam, and my current band is 5 to 6 in all modules, is it enough time to get a 7? Yes, it is, Kyber. So if you are doing structured quality study for that much time, so basically you're talking about Um, but of course, you get a day off per week on average. It's good to rest, students. You don't want to burn yourself out either. But you're roughly, let's study. That's a lot, Kyber. And to move up 1 to 1.5 band in 3 months with that much studying is definitely possible. Okay. So, Kyber's question is I'm just going to shrink this a bit. Okay. Can I move 1 to 1.5 bands up from 5.5 to 7 in 100 days of studying 5 to 6 hours daily? So that's the question, Kyber, and the answer is yes. And it is important to have a good plan much on mistakes. Okay. So it's what's really important to remember is it's not just about how much you study effectively. So you might be able to move up more than 1.5 band. Let me try to fix the cracking. Just give me a second. I'm not sure why it does that. It's a little bit strange here. Could be some kind of a connection issue. Anyway, let me know if it keeps cracking. I just kind of reloaded the microphone. So if it's still cracking, let me know. If it's not, then that's fine. All right. Let me do one more thing here. All right. So let me know if it's still cracking. If it is, I'll try to fix it. If not, then it's all good. We'll go ahead. Okay. So again, that just really emphasizing that last point, Kyber. It's not just about how much you study, but it's how you study. I'll show you just a quick example of that. So here I showed you the My Student page in our Academic English Help website. And in that website, you also have this tab, and I know many of you have access to it, IELTS exams, workbooks, study plans. So you click on that, and then you can download the PDFs for the exams, download the workbook, and here you have a 30-day and a 60-day study plan, Kyber. So ideally you want to grab that study plan, and then basically it walks you through kind of what you should be doing day 1, day 2, day 3, what parts of the workbook, the videos, the interactive course that you need to focus on. So whether you're using the study plan on our website or another study plan, it doesn't matter all that much. The idea is that you want to have a well-structured study plan that's connected, where information is relating to each other, and you're not just learning new material every day without getting feedback. It's one of the most common mistakes that we see in students learning. Okay. So the common mistake that we see in students learning is that a student keeps trying new IELTS materials each day without any feedback. Okay, that's not a very effective use of time. Okay, so keep that in mind. Is that clear? So feedback and structured study is extremely important. So not just how much you study, but how you study. So the effectiveness of your study. Okay, so give me a couple of thumbs up on that, members, and I'll move on to the next question. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Kyber has one more question. How do I build an idea bank for writing task 2? So that's a good question. Okay, well let's look at that one. So how do I build an idea bank? So this is another one by Kyber, and usually I don't do back to back from the same number, but Kyber, I'm going to actually talk about that for a second because I think that's a really good question. And that's one that a lot of students struggle with. So how do I build an idea bank for IELTS task 2? Okay. All right. Here's the answer. Keep in mind that task 2 questions are designed so that most people from most cultures, regardless, and instead of saying people, I should say adults. So let's say 18 and over. From most cultures should be able to answer the questions regardless of gender and interest. Okay. So the questions in task 2, for the most part, are quite generalized. So you have to think about those meta theories or meta ideas that connect all humans. So make a list of meta ideas that are relevant to all people. So, for example, okay, technology, environment, health, work, school, travel. Okay, and there are lots more. So that's what you want to do. Okay, make a list of ideas that are relevant to all people, like technology, environment, health, work, school, travel. Ones that we often mention, I think we have these in the task 2 that we're working on right now, are time, energy, food. Okay, so these are going to be kind of the ideas that will be the focus of task 2 writing. So as long as you keep these kind of meta ideas in mind, then you should be able to do okay. You should be able to recognize what kind of key points are needed by the task 2 questions. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? And that's kind of the idea bank that you need to go with, okay? All right. And I see lots of thumbs up for the previous question, which is great. Thank you, Ois, Rajveer, David. Lots of member participation today. That's fantastic to see. All right. So that's what you want to do with your task 2 is kind of keep in mind that the question shouldn't be too unique in what the response has to contain. Okay. Let's move on to another question. Okay, Rajveer is asking, can you please touch upon the different grammatical structures in conditional sentences? Yeah, that's a pretty big question, Rajveer, because I mean, as many of you probably know, I could teach you for like a couple of classes just on conditionals. I'll talk briefly about it, Rajveer, and then maybe what we'll do is I'll make a note for myself and my team to put up a blog on conditionals, and I don't think we have one yet, but I'll make a note of that, and then you can check it out on the website. But Rajveer is actually asking, so can you discuss the different types of conditionals in the English language? I think, Rajveer, it's better if you ask me like a more specific type question, like what's the difference between this and that conditional? So the answer for this one right now, Rajveer, is I will create a blog on the different types of conditionals and their grammar rules. Okay, so check back on the blog in the next week, let's say. Give us a week to do it. Okay, so I'll show you what that is. So again, if you are on the website and on the blogs in the top right here, so blogs, then come back in the next few days, Rajveer, and then do a search for conditionals here, and then you'll be able to find it. Okay, so yeah, we'll probably even start a new category specifically for grammar. Okay, all right. One important point though for condition is real versus unreal. This is what's important for the IELTS to know. Okay, so you should know the difference between real and unreal conditionals. Okay, because that's very important to be able to express clearly for your listener or your reader. Okay, so when you are writing a real condition, then use the word when. Okay. If you are writing an unreal use the word if. Okay, so I'm just going to give you this one simple little hint for conditionals, and you can even see it in my example. So when you are writing a real condition, use the word when. If you are writing an unreal condition, use the word if. Okay, just like in these two sentences. So keep that in mind. Okay, that's one where a lot of students don't have clarity. So it's kind of like, is that a real condition? So when I have $1 million, I buy expensive cars. It means that I actually have $1 million and I buy expensive cars. If I had $1 million, I would buy expensive cars. That means I don't have $1 million, but if I did, I would buy expensive cars. So know the difference between the real and the unreal. Okay, and like I said, we'll go into more details with first, second, third condition, grammar rules and such in a blog, because that's going to be a bigger topic. Okay. If I went into that, we would run out of time, and this would be a class on conditionals. Okay. All right. But good question, Rajveer. Okay. It is a good question, and it's important to know not just the grammar structure, but why we use certain types of conditions in certain sentences. Okay. All right. And I saw that, Janil, you said, yeah, that's a good idea. Please create a blog on that. So I will do that. Okay. All right. Rahul, sir, how many practice exams are adequate before appearing for the real exam? Okay, Rahul, that's kind of connecting to Kyber's question of, is 5 hours a day for 100 days before the exam enough to get a band 7 if you're a band 5.5? So it's not just the number of exams that you're doing before the official test, Rahul, but it's also getting feedback on those exams, marking them, finding where you made mistakes, learning why you made those mistakes. Okay, so Rahul's question is basically, how many practice exams should I do before my official IELTS test so that I can maximize my scores? Okay, that's kind of the question restated, and of course I adjusted it a little bit. It is a good question, Rahul. Here's my answer, okay? So when you begin your IELTS journey, it is, and notice how again I'm using the real condition here, the general present, meaning this applies to any person. So when you begin your IELTS journey, comma, because this is my dependent clause, and now comes my independent clause, okay? That's why I need a comma here. So when you begin your IELTS journey, it is a good idea to start with a timed practice test in order to identify your band scores and your areas of strength and weakness. Okay. So when you realize that, okay, I need to do the IELTS for immigration or for work or for study, then you pick a practice exam, okay? You can pick a practice exam from our website or from the Cambridge IELTS series, okay? So choose an exam from our website or IELTS past papers books 7 to 14. Okay, there's 15 out, maybe 15's out. I'm pretty sure 14's out. Okay, the reason why I say that is because there are a couple of different books out there, like Longman's and Barron's. I don't quite agree with them. They don't actually reflect the real exam accurately enough. So that's why you have to be careful with what exams you're using. So it's not just, Rahul, it's not just how many exams you do, but it's which exams you do. Be really careful. There are some exams that are not quite accurate. I'm sure some of you have seen that. So be careful. Not all IELTS exams that you find online are accurate with the real test. Okay, so be careful about that. All right. And then basically, so you assess yourself and focus on the sections where you are weaker more than where you are strong. So if your listening is really strong and you get a band 7, 5, but your writing is kind of weaker, it's a band 6, and you can get your writing assessed by sending it to us at ahelp.com or eltshelp.com, or your speaking is weaker, and again, you can get a score by sending us your 3 recording, or your reading score is weaker, then focus on those sections, okay? So then you should do 1 to 2 practice exams each week. And so basically, Rahul, if when you're learning Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you're focusing on different parts of the IELTS exam, and then Friday you do a practice exam to see how you have improved, to keep yourself trained in the format. So 1 a week for sure, okay, maybe 2. Doing more than 2 per week is not necessary. Okay, some students think that like doing a practice exam each day is a good idea? I don't think so. I don't actually think that's quite effective. So doing more than 2 practice exams each week is not necessary and may be counterproductive. So meaning that it can actually be bad, okay? And one more point here, Rahul, is definitely do a timed, okay? Timed practice exams are really important as well. What a lot of students do is they do a practice exam, but they do it in like 2 days, or they do it over like 8 hours. So they'll do the listening in the morning, and then they'll do the reading in the afternoon, and then they'll do some writing and speaking in the evening. And they did their practice exam. Well, yes, it's okay. You're doing different sections of the exam at different times, but it's not actually a true practice exam. A true practice exam means that you sit down and you basically do the full exam in that 3-hour period, especially doing the listening, reading, writing all in one sit down. And then the speaking, maybe you can do a little bit later or earlier, because that's the way it works in the real exam. But for sure, you want to do sessions where you're doing the practice exam the same as the real exam. And that means even taking washroom breaks. That's something really interesting that I learned doing the official exam, is doing the washroom breaks the same. So you can't just get up and run to the washroom in the last 10 minutes of the writing and reading. During the listening, you can't go to the washroom at all, okay? So definitely do a timed practice exam 2 days before your official exam, including washroom break rules. Okay, washroom break rules, meaning that no use of washroom during the listening section or the last 10 minutes of writing and reading, or I should say of the reading and writing section. Okay. I wish I had done that, because I didn't realize how much that costs, especially during the writing section. Okay. So make sure to do that. So yeah, so how to make use of the of practice exams? It's a good question. Okay, I hope that's clear for everybody about what to do with practice exams. Okay, all right. Abhishek says, in my personal experience, computer-based is better than paper. It depends on the individual, especially in the writing and reading modules. I completely agree, Abhishek. As I said many times before, computer-based is better. I think it's clear. It's a clear format. You can navigate the computer-based exam much faster, so you can jump around questions much faster. It's easier to mark for the examiners as well, because it's type font, right? But you have to make sure that you have really good touch typing skills in English, and preferably practicing on a British QWERTY keyboard. That means with the setup of the QWERTY keyboard pattern. Okay, it's very important. Okay, so that was just a little bit of a reflection on Abhishek's response to David Eigerman's question, I think, about computer-based or paper-based. Yeah, so David, if you are faster, more fluent in writing in English by one hand on a piece of paper, choose the paper-based. If you are more fluent writing with touch typing, then choose the computer-based. That's the key difference, okay? So it's up to the individual, as Abhishek said, absolutely, okay? All right. Let's see some more questions here. I see lots of questions. Okay. Next is for Dobbs. For Dobbs says, in the last two speaking exams, examiners stopped me when their facial expressions like nodding and hand gestures. Why? In the future, I'm planning not to use face-to-face conversation. For Dobbs, I'm not 100% clear on what you're asking me here. If that's a question or a statement, and I'm not exactly clear what it is. Can you rephrase that for Dobbs so I can get a better idea and I'll check it? So let me read it one more time. In the last two speaking exams, examiners stopped me with their facial expressions like nodding and hand gestures. Why? Do you mean like they actually like you were speaking and then like this without telling you stop? Because they shouldn't be doing that. So examiners are instructed not to signal. So you need to contact your exam center and make a report about that if that happens. They can interrupt you with the next question. Absolutely. Or they can just simply say, stop, I would like to go to the next question. They can do something like that. But they shouldn't be like doing things like this. And if that's happening, it could be that you're over speaking and going off topic for Dobbs. So make sure that you have an end to your response, okay? Just like we practice in class. Answer, explain, example, then stop. So don't panic and don't just keep speaking, okay? Yeah, they. So let let me try to respond to look here in a second. I think I understand your question for Dobbs. I'm going to scroll back down to the end of the chat here to see what you mean. Okay, so why don't they give me a chance to explain my answer? Okay, for Dobbs, I see what you're saying there. So for Dobbs is asking, why are the examiners stopping me with facial expressions, hand gestures, or interrupting me? Why don't they let me explain my answers? Okay, answer. You are not being fluent enough. You may be going off topic, or you may have sufficiently answered the question and you are being redundant. You are, one more that could be a possibility is, or you are being overly wordy. Okay, that can happen too. So try to practice being concise with your answers for Dobbs. So when you're giving an answer, I like to go for walks in the morning because this energizes me for the day and I get lots of fresh air. Okay, so be concise with your answers. So work on giving answers in such a way for Dobbs that your explanation is very tight with the answer and very smooth. That's the tip that I can give you. When I did my exam for Dobbs and I did my speaking exam, I did it just like we do it in class. So I gave the answer, the explanation, a quick example, and that was it. So if you're really, like if you're fumbling your words, if you're getting stuck, then yeah, they're going to interrupt you because they need to get through at least 5-6 questions in part 1, part 2 cue card, and then 3, 4, 5 questions in part 3 in that 12-minute time. So they do need to complete those sets of questions. And if you're not being quick enough, then they worry about their ability to complete the interview. So they will interrupt you and they will kind of stop you. Okay. All right. Let's see some more. Okay. Lots of questions. So let me just see. Okay, Backroads asking how do I focus how do I focus how to have more focus and strategy for finishing reading part in the given time. Okay, so um, Backroads. Strategy in the reading section. Question. Um, the answer, firstly, is to not panic. Okay. So one of the reasons I think a lot of students lose their focus and lose focus on strategy in the reading is because they start to panic. Okay. So do not panic. Do not keep staring at the clock. Okay. Remember that although the reading may start slower, as long as you stick to strategy, you will become faster as you progress through the questions and move to later passages. Okay. So, Akra, the trick to keeping your focus and sticking to strategy, let's do one more key word here, and visualize. Okay. So just keep focusing on seeing the information that you're reading. So, one of the common psychological situations that tend to happen with students or candidates in the reading section is they start to slowly but surely focus more on the clock ticking down than on the actual reading itself. Okay. So they're focusing on the reading and they're like, okay, how much time did that take me? I think that took me like 5 minutes. Check the clock. Yeah, that took me 5. Okay, first question. Oh, no, no, no. I only have like 4 minutes left now. Oh, no, no. I only have like 2 minutes left now. And suddenly it's all about how much time you have left in your reading and not what you're actually doing. Your goal is to get correct answers. Okay, rushing and worrying about the time is not going to lead to correct answers, even if you happen to answer all the questions. So you need to focus on the content, you need to focus on the strategy, and you need to not worry about the time. And if you don't finish all of the questions, so what? At least you did the questions confidently, which you actually had time for. Okay? So just keep sticking to strategy, and remember that even if it might take you the first 12, 14 minutes of a passage to answer the first or second question, there's still a really good chance that in that next 6, 7 minutes, 5 minutes, you can answer the remaining 10 questions because you have a clear idea of the content. Okay? So the reading section is kind of like a big, heavy train. You start moving slowly, slowly, but once you're actually moving like a big, heavy train, then you're moving at a good speed and you're hard to stop. Okay, so keep that in mind. Keep that concept in mind of the big, heavy train that starts slowly but then moves consistently at a good speed. Okay, and you'll do fine. All right. That was it for me as well. When I sat the official test and I did the reading, I was really able to empathize why students do that, so why they start to rush. But you just don't do that. So just keep sticking to strategy and practice that at home. Okay, practice that at home. That's, of course, the other big one is practice at home, so it's not a surprise when you get to the test. Okay. All right. Ois says, I still have a problem with my speed during reading a passage. Each time I need 14 to 15 minutes to finish, so 5 minutes is not enough to answer the question. What is the best way to solve this? Ois, you have to work on improving your reading fluency. So the simple answer is read more, okay? The more complex answer is do different types of reading exercises like power reading that we did in classes before, where you're targeting your fluency and your comprehension, and then you're putting it all together. So there is no magical answer to that, Ois. The only answer I can really give you is you just need to keep working on reading. Read aloud as well. Okay, so I'll make a couple points, Ois. So Ois is basically saying, how can I reduce my time to 10 to 12 minutes? Okay, so that you have at least 8 to 10 minutes for questions. That's really what you want, if you can. Okay, answer is do lots of reading, or I can say lots. Okay. On different types of reading exercises that improve your reading fluency and comprehension. We have lots online, so we could say Google, how do I increase? Okay. Just like muscles, right? It's like, here, Ois, it's kind of like, how do I improve my reading speed? It's the same kind of question as if people are like, well, how do I lose 10 pounds? Or how do I get big muscles, right? And then, of course, you have all of these like magical pills and diet plans and if you shine a light on top of your head, you're going to lose 2 pounds in the next month. Well, yeah, if you're holding that light above your head for 5 hours a day, you might lose 2 pounds, but otherwise, no. My friends and I often joke that the one and only real diet plan there is in the world is a simple 4-word diet plan, and it's basically eat less, exercise more. So eat less, exercise more. There's, sure, you can, it matters what you eat. So if you're eating just sugar instead of vegetables, that's going to matter. And same thing in the reading, it matters kind of what you're reading and how you're reading. But at the end of the day, you just need to read more, work on fluency, work on comprehension. So, I could tell you all these kind of magical tricks and tips, but that would not be the truth. Okay. So the brain is like a muscle, and if you want big muscles, go to the gym, work out regularly. That's the reality of it. Sure, you can take drugs and appear to have big muscles, but those aren't really big muscles. They just look like big muscles. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right. Let's see. So I thought I saw a question from Kashirsha as well. There's lots of questions, students. I'd like to, answer different students as well. Kashirsha is asking, is it okay to use filler words like kind of, like, etc. on the speaking exam? Yes, it is, Kashirsha, within reason, okay? So this is a very common question by students, and there's a lot of confusion around this, okay? So Kashirsha's question, I'm going to go with K because Kyber is going to be KH. So Kashirsha's question is it okay to use natural fillers and filler words like and and kind of and like? The answer here is yes. Yes. This is absolutely okay, as long as it is English. I've heard people use fillers that are non-English natural. So yes, this is absolutely okay as long as these are English natural. They're called natural fillers. Natural fillers. And you are not overusing them, okay? So what does that mean, not overusing them? A natural filler once every couple of sentences is okay, but if you're using 2 to 3 per sentence, that's not okay. That's going to decrease your coherence and your fluency score. So there is no perfect number here, okay? So let me clarify this a bit further. For example, i.e., it is okay to use a natural filler every 2 sentences or so, but if you are using 3 to 4 fillers per sentence, this will decrease your fluency and coherence score. As you can imagine, if I go like this for each sentence, then you're going to start going like, what is Adrian saying? I'm starting to lose you. I don't quite get what you're saying. So there's a limit to using natural fillers. Natural fillers can improve your score if you use them sparsely. So it means you're not using them often, because they will show a kind of natural diction. So all people use natural fillers. The way we use natural fillers is part of our diction. It's part of our style of speech. But overusing natural fillers definitely will lead to lower communication. So be really careful about that, okay? Kashirsha, so good question. The answer there is within moderation. Within moderation, translation, maybe once per 1 to 2 sentences, a natural filler is okay. And the other, I think, point that I want to make here as well is have a variety. That's a good point that you just reminded me of with your question. Kashir says, have a variety. So if you are really used to using in your diction, so you're always try to catch yourself and add in some variety. Make it a bit more flavorful. So use or well or like, okay? So switch it up, okay? Don't just have one natural filler. Kuldeep, your IELTS band score is valid for 2 years maximum, okay? For some places, they will only IELTS scores that are 1 year or newer, okay? So it depends on where for immigration and for most places, band scores are for 2 years. Okay. All right. Okay, students, that's 50 minutes of Q&A. So I'm going to stop there. I see that there are lots and lots of questions. It's one of those classes where we've got tons more questions, and I see that there are some good ones. Okay, David's saying the radio signal from the mic is covered when you're typing. That's when the crackling begins. It could be the metal from the stand that the laptop is on. I'm not sure. Okay. Thanks for giving me that hint. Maybe I'll try to figure something out. Maybe I'll wear my mic on my other side, I guess, so it's not covered like that. Okay, I'm going to stop there. If I didn't get to one of your questions, don't worry about it. Send me an email. Okay, and for everybody watching, check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, glshelp.com for general IELTS. Once again, the websites look like this, and you can sign up by clicking the big red button. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, so check us out there. For the general IELTS, it's the green background. Click that big red button to join us there. You're very welcome, everyone, and hang around. I'll be back in 30 minutes to finish the Task 2 essay that we started together yesterday. Hopefully I'll see everybody there. Bye for now. I'll be back soon.